bardzo widowiskowy sport, ale żeby był widowiskowy, musi być bardzo blisko kibiców, żeby te samochody przejeżdżały jak najbliżej, a żeby dało się to zrobić, to trzeba zabezpieczyć zawsze trasę i Trans pomaga nam z tymi klockami Lego, tak żeby zawodnicy mieli fajną trasę, a też żeby wszyscy byli bezpieczni.
Class, and it has been absolutely crazy. Me and Kian have been absolutely destroying our voices for it, but we are back, and it looks like the track is freshly painted and we are ready to go, aren't we, Kian?
Yeah, absolutely. This has been an incredible qualifying session so far, and especially coming towards the last kind of 10 drivers in the first half of the runs there, it was incredible the scores that were coming through the track. It was unbelievable. We did see a lot of people struggling going from clip 1 to clip 2, and even some drivers from clip 2 to clip 3. But everybody's starting to get the hang now of how the track is meant to flow and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping to see some even more incredible runs down the second half of this qualification stage, but we'll have to see. But I'm also looking forward to seeing what the judges make of the rest of the runs as well, because a couple of the runs scored quite low. I wonder, are we going to start seeing higher scored runs throughout the rest of the grid rather than just up at that top 10 stage? We do have our list here. This is who is out at the moment. So we from 50 to 41, we only have a top 32 this weekend. So you can see Darius Febishak sitting outside there, Zolt Homan, Pushan sitting outside there. We have our number one driver at the moment, Cooper Proizgonski, tied with Mads Andersen, both 96-point runs there. Jakob Kroll and Kevin Vrubel on a 93.5 as well there. Moving down the list, we got Nassel Habali on an 86, Valerie Sheloff on a 84.5, and moving down towards our 30th position there, Peter Kowalski on a 74. I believe our cutoff point is about 72.5 for so far. Anyway, halfway through the qualifying runs. So, Brandon, I'm really excited to see the rest of this.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs, thrills and spills, and as always, qualifying always delivers, and the drivers have been going absolutely crazy, but the ones who have struggled so far have got another chance to get up into the top 32, so we'll have to see what happens, as we do have our first driver at the line, so we will be getting ready to send him very shortly as qualifying does continue, and it has been a very long day so far. So there we have it. We are ready to go here, the penultimate round of the DMP 2025. And here we have Camille at the line once again, number 366 in that F22. Incredible looking car, great presentation, but we'll have to see how he does in his second run, Kian.
Yeah, absolutely. So leaving the line here is Camille Olabreich, I think. I cannot pronounce the name, but anyway, he sends it into outer zone 1, up into outer zone 2 here along the bank, a little bit deeper than he was before. Thank God he was praying for that. In through outer zone 3, rotating that car around to outer zone 4, getting in there a little bit late is Camille as he fires that F22 BMW around outer zone 4 into the inner clip 1 and across outer zone 5, missing outer zone 5 and across the line.
Once again, though, this just goes to show. It just goes to show, though, how that inner clip at the end of the carousel is integral to getting out of zone 5 properly. If you don't hit that properly, you ain't getting the end properly. As you can see here, coming through out of zone 2, does a good job, but then washes a bit too wide for too long, and then he leaves the transition very late, which then ends up with him in a bit of a weird spot for out of zone 4 on that carousel. And this is where it does get a bit sketchy. As you can see, he pulls out a bit too early, comes inside, goes over the inner clip, which means he is on the incorrect line to get into out of zone 5, and it is all about getting that line down. We'll have to see what the judges think of that, but it's not going to be the best for him in that second run.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait for judges to drop in their scores there for Camille in that M2 BMW. As they drop in, that's a 73.5, not an improvement, unfortunately, for Camille. Drops him into 21st position with that original score that he had on his first run. As we move it back to the line, we have Ite Sada on the line. The Drift Masters drivers making their way over to Poland for the last event of the PGE Narodowy. And Ite saying, you know what, I'm going to try my hand at DMP this weekend. So that's what he's doing here today as he flicks that BMW lovely up onto the first outer zone, around up the outer zone, up around the bank as he locks up on front wheels, trying to force that car a little bit wider down through outer zone 3, around to outer zone 4, not as wide as he would like. As he powers that BMW around in towards the inner clip here, gets onto that B line as best he can. And then around out of zone 5 and across the line goes Ite Sada, doing a very, very tidy job there in that BMW. I believe that's an F22. You have to correct me if I'm wrong there, but
I have a feeling it is his 46 with a reshell, with the body redone.
You might be right, actually. Yeah, you might be right.
Just based off the roof and the windows.
Yeah. So yeah,
what's going on with all of these F22 kit swaps?
I don't know. It might be. It's messing with my brain.
That is definitely an E46.
Yeah, it is. I'm seeing in the chat here, someone says E46. So, yeah, it's an E46 with a reshell, I guess. And that is incredible now from Ite Sada. We will see what drops in here from the judges. And we have someone in the comments saying it's an E46 with an M2 body kit. So, there you go.
Definitely an interesting style. So, when I was saying I knew him in his E46 stage, he's still in it.
You still know.
It's just that he's just trying to trick me.
He did a good job.
When I was speaking to him in Warsaw, we were just talking about his car and how he's built up for spec and stuff. And it's just, yeah, he's an incredible driver and an incredible personality on the track and off the track. So it's good to see him in DMP, having a go with the National Series as we get his score in, which is 79.5. So it is an improvement. So good stuff there from Ite Sada. Putting him in 20 seconds. So that is a good spot to be in.
Yeah, as we move along now to the next driver on the line is Krzysztof Kozkars. I'm butchering that, but it's BMW F22, the driver from Poland. 800 horsepower, 77.5 on his first run. He pedals that F22 down towards outer zone 1, initiates cleanly through outer zone 1, works that car up onto the bank there, trying to grab outer zone 2, which he does. Transitions back into the D-cell here of outer zone 3, transitions back towards outer zone 4, starts to try reel in that outside line, maybe too much, drops 2 wheels off the back there as he moves into the inside clip there, around to outer zone 5 and across the line goes Krzysztof Kozkars.
Yep. Just to answer a question in the chat, are you guys in Poland too? We are not, unfortunately. We are at home, working from home. But going on to this run, definitely not the best of runs so far. Definitely a bit scatty. I'm not too sure if this will be an improvement from his previous run, so we'll have to see how that reflects. As you can see here, just coming through the carousel of out zone 4, it does drop at the wheel there and almost does into the dirt, and that causes him to leave the zone early. But he does manage to hit the inner clip nicely, so it's all down to what the judges look at. But obviously this definitely is going to be a difficult one for them to score, as there was a few mistakes there that definitely need to be fleshed out. Obviously this is his second run, so getting into a 69.5, so that is not an improvement, but still sitting at 26th, so a good place to be.
Yeah, so we'll move back to the line. Mikko Hamwi on the line, ready to throw down. There in the background.
We're just having a couple of little teething issues there.
Yeah, 70 on his first run from Mikko Hamwi in that S14, making about 800 horsepower. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous car. As he leaves the line here, pedals that 800 horsepower S14 down towards the initiation, and he flicks that S14 across outer zone 1 up the bank, powers that car, locks that front wheel to try drag that car further out into outer zone 2 as he comes down, misses outer zone 3, maybe drops the wheel on the inside just before outer zone 4 there, drops another wheel there on the outside of 4, I think, as he comes around into this outside inner clip here, gets the B line there, the center line through that inner clip, across outer zone 5, and across the line goes Michael Hamwee, doing a very, very, very tidy job there, I will say. Brandon.
Not too shabby at all. That 14 definitely being put through its paces. As you can see here, looking good into outside zone 2, but just a little bit shallow onto there, which is very unfortunate. And then it's a very slow transition as he comes across, and it does end up with him coming out of that clip early. Pulling into 4 though, looking good, just a little bit of washing out towards the middle section, but manages to keep it in there nicely, and then manages to see, he does seem to finish up the run quite nicely. So just a little bit of scattiness at the start, but finishing on a high note.
Yeah, as we move back to the line here, we have Bartosz Palika on the line in that 1 Series E82 BMW. As he's pulling to the line there, just got his tires nice and warm as we wait for the score to drop in for Michael Hamwee. As we get a lovely drone shot of the Kielce circuit here in Poland. Big thank you to the track for letting DMP run this event here. It's a very cool event. As we get the score from Michael Hamwee, it is an improvement. It's a 73 on run 2, drops him into 32nd position. So he is on that very, very fine line of getting into top 32 tomorrow, unfortunately. And we do have a lot of drivers on zeros, so we will have to see if he will make it into top 32 tomorrow. Bartosz Palika, one of those drivers on a 0 at the moment. 770 horsepower as he flicks that 1 Series BMW into outer zone 1. Maybe a possible late initiation there as he powers through outer zone 2, transitions back to the D-cell here at outer zone 3. Just nearly gets outside of outer zone 3, in late to outer zone 4 is Palika as he comes around the roundabout into the inner clip, which he seems to have forgotten about, and misses outer zone 5 as well. Something not going right for Bartosz Palika there. Unfortunately, let's have a look at this.
Definitely an interesting one to say the least. It's going to be a weird one to stack up with in the previous set. I mean, any score on the board is good for him at this point. As you can see here, coming around into the carousel. Definitely just a bit shallow on the commitment and the angle overall throughout the entire layout, to be honest.
I think that car might have an issue, Brandon. If you look at the whole
I do believe he shut down.
Yeah.
I do believe he shut down in his first run, and that's why he got the 0.
Yeah. Yeah, so
we'll have to see.
Not going the way of Palika there, unfortunately, and I believe that will be a 0 because he did straighten a lot there, so I don't know if the judges are even going to score that one, unfortunately.
We'll have to see. Obviously, we're not judges, so it's pretty hard to say. But we will definitely see. To go, but unfortunately, that is drifting.
So on the line, Jacek Olenik on the line, BMW E92, 715 horsepower. Looking to improve on his first score as he leaves the line here. Powers that E92 down towards the initiation. He flicks it lovely towards outer zone 1 and starts to pedal that E92 up the bank and fills out outer zone 2 very, very nicely there as he transitions back very fast down through the hill as he transitions back towards outer zone 4, and he's lost it. He's straightened, big straighten there. And he comes around into the inner clip, just getting that B-line and across outer zone 5, which he misses as well, and shuts it down just after the line, maybe having a few issues there. Unfortunate, because that was going to be such a good run.
That is very, very unfortunate. But that is the thing with this sport. It can have a lot of unpredictable things happen. Obviously, we're sending these cars very fast sideways, which they were not intended to do. So it's just one of those where it can happen. And look at this. I love this shot. It's making me dizzy, but Such a cool shot from the drone there. But as you can see, that just a lot of struggle around this course, and I don't think it's going to reflect very well.
Yeah, unfortunately, we will see what the judges make of that. They might not score that very high, but we got some entertainment out of it. And it is a 0, another 0, back-to-back zeros. So that will drop him outside of top 32. We will not see him back for competition action tomorrow, unfortunately, as we move back to the line. The V12 Mercedes SL of Tim Heidrich on the line. Brandon, what are we thinking here?
Well, someone in the comments in the earlier of the qualifying was saying the Heidrich family have a tendency to come out in their second run with a banger. So we'll have to see as Tim Heidrich comes in with the initiation. Very fast, very committed, looking good so far. Lots of angle though, and this is a problem as he comes around in and he does cut the track. As he comes around, he's collected the cone, he's taking it on a ride with him. As you can see there, the cone is actually doing the layout with him. It looks like it has been shot back out though, and I do not think this is going to be a good score, unfortunately. I don't think this will get him into the top 32, and unfortunately, I think that might be all she wrote for his weekend.
Yeah, unfortunate Tim Heidrich. A lot of support for him online and in the community. A guy who's been around quite a long time. We all know Matt Heidrich as well, the other German driver, his brother, I believe. Done Drift Masters for a number of years, but Tim struggling with this car. I think he struggled at round 1. Not sure about round 2, but he absolutely is struggling here at round 3 with this car. We will see what the judges make of that one, unfortunately, now, but we will wait for the score to come in, and it's another 0, another double 0. Tim Heidrich, unfortunately, dropping out of competition early yet again as we move it back to the line where we have Krzysztof Polanka in that Sposob Motorsport S15 making about 800 horsepower. As he leaves the line, the lights go green. Polanka gonna pedal that car around, initiates, nice flick initiation across outer zone 1, just about grabs it there as he's a little bit shallow coming down, does miss outer zone 2 as he flicks back to outer zone 3 here, just about misses outer zone 3 here as well. As he comes around outer zone 4, starts to work that car out to the outside line here now as he dials in for the inside clip around towards outer zone 5 and hits the limiter. Across the line goes Polanka. Brandon, what do we make of that?
Definitely a more impactful run than the first. Obviously, just struggling to get up the embankment there. As you can see, just completely missing outside zone 2. And it seems to be a common issue so far. And this is why we have qualifying, though, for these drivers to prove that they can do the lead line the correct way, so we can have a good battle. As you can see here, does clean it up when we get to the flat section, but of course, you can't have just part of the track down to a T to be able to get into battles. You have to have the entire layout down. And I do think, unfortunately, that will not be enough. But we will have to see. It depends where he's currently placed. It depends where he's currently placed.
Yeah, absolutely. As we wait for that score to drop on, Mateusz Druskin in that BMW M104 Turbo jumps to the line as we get the score, and it is a 64.5, not an improvement, and unfortunately that will be 38th position, and all she wrote for Krzysztof Polanka in that Sposob Motorsport S15. As we move it on, 59 points in his first run for Mateusz Druskin, 700 horsepower here as he pedals that car down towards the initiation point and into outer zone 1. Very nice line here, very fast entry as he moves around to outer zone 2, does collect that clip as he decels down through 3, a little bit wide here as he comes into 4, a little bit of a checkup there as we come around and starts to dial in that car onto the line again, tucking in towards the inner clip here as we go around outer zone 5 onto the wall and across the line. Oh, and tags the wall heavy on the way out. Brandon, let's have a look at this.
So that was definitely something to watch. As you can see here, doing good through out of zone 1 and then manages to get into out of zone 2 nicely. But this is where it gets a bit more complicated as he comes through into 3, throws it in very hard, but ends up too deep and ends up having to kind of check up to get into out of 4, which is a massive mistake to be happening because that can choke up the chase quite big. As we move on into the inner clip, gets the inner clip really well, but as he comes around towards out of 5, it gets very deep, doesn't put on enough angle to get around the wall, and does tap the wall. So we'll have to see what the judges think to that.
Yeah, definitely some heavy contact with the wall there. Hopefully there's no damage to that car. And you can see even after the run with that drone shot how much he had to transition back and forth to just try to get the car to come straight again after that impact. But yeah, hopefully we will get a score for that very soon. As on the line we have Peter Stanczak lining up in a BMW E82. Let's get a lovely drone shot of the Kielce circuit here, overlooking a very nice day. As we get the score for Mateus, and it's a 64 unfortunately, and that drops him outside of the top 32 into 39th position, and we will not see him back for top 32 action tomorrow unfortunately, as we get our...
Jesteśmy pod namiotem Motula, pojawiamy się tu co rundę. No właśnie, ten Motul zazwyczaj nam się kojarzy z olejami, ale nie tylko.
Nie tylko oleje, również chemia do aut, jak i ubrania, odzież.
No właśnie, ta wasza oferta w ostatnich latach bardzo mocno się rozrosła, tak na dobrą sprawę. No, ale trzeba pamiętać o tym, że wspieracie ten motorsport, szczególnie polski driftingowy, tak naprawdę, no może nie od, no prawie od samego początku.
Od samego tak naprawdę początku. Motul jest ogromną firmą. Poza motorsportem zajmujemy się również rowerami.
Rowerami?
Dokładnie tak.
Opowiadaj.
Mamy chemię do rowerów, mamy odzież rowerową, więc zapraszamy na stronę.
No dobrze, słuchajcie, wbijajcie pod namioty Motula. Tuż obok znajduje się także namiot Max Racing Teamu, więc tam, no właśnie, chociażby jedna z najładniejszych fur ostatnio w stawce, czyli fura Marka Wartołowicza, z którą Motul też się bardzo przyjaźni, więc tutaj nie tylko pod ten namiot, ale też pod tamten można zapraszać.
Zapraszamy.
So that was a nice little interview there with our lovely Max Racing team captain, I do believe. That was Marek, I do believe. I hope I got his name right.
As we go back to the line here, we have the track back in working order. We had to just fix that wall as we did have Mateus Trusin just hit it on his way out of the track, and back to a driver who has a 0 as well, Peter Stanczak. He's also in an E82, getting ready to send it down the line as he initiates here into outer zone 1, fires that car really hard through, up towards outer zone 2, just about missed it. This is a very fast-paced run, so he has some decel heavy here, and he just drops the wheel on the outside of the track there, coming into outer zone 4, around, carrying that nice wide line around into the inner clip here, just misses the inner clip and around towards outer zone 5 and across the line. A lot of pace in that run there, Brandon.
Definitely a much better run for his second run, obviously with a 0 in the first, so anything's better than nothing. But as you can see here, lots of speed, lots of smoke, but does come up very shy once again. This is where the scores are going to differ, and this is what's going to get you into the top 32, is if you can get that first section bang on, because this second section is pretty self-explanatory. It kind of just flows on its own. But as you can see there, he does make a bit of an angle correction there and does pull out of the zone early. So that definitely won't help him, and obviously missing that inner clip. So it's going to be an interesting one as he does just power through outside zone 5. We'll have to see what the judges think of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it is an improvement for him. He is sitting on a 0, so any score at the moment will be an improvement. So as we wait for the scores to drop in from the judges, we look down, we can see at the modal tires, at the modal start line there, Oh, as we get a score for Stansek, it's a 70-point run, but it's just too little too late, unfortunately. That's 36 for Stansek. He will be dropping out of top 32 as we go back to the line. We have Christian Salamer, that BMW 1 Series, sitting on the line there. Brandon.
Once again, Christian also sitting on a 0, so we'll have to see what he can do with this. As you can see, the 2 GoPros on each wing mirror as he comes around now into the initiation. Nice, fast initiation there. The big boys racing. Oh, but it goes off track, and that will be a 0 as he goes 4 wheels off track, and he knows that he has done that. As unfortunately, he just kind of lets the run fall apart. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you go a bit too hard.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the pace coming in there. He's really just obviously didn't have the grip to keep it on track. Maybe there was a bit of dust on the track there as he was coming through. And yep, there's our confirmation. 0-0 for Christian Salamer. Unfortunately for him, we will see him back for the finals in Poznan, hopefully. And hopefully he gets rid of all them gremlins that's creeping into the driving at the moment, or into the car. Who knows what they are? Only he will know that information. So we go back down to the line. A driver who's sitting on a 58.5, Darius Fabishek, driving that S14A with the Barra powered engine underneath the bonnet there, as he starts to hammer the gears through down into outer zone 1. Initiates very cleanly up the bank or towards outer zone 2, does fulfill that zone as he transitions back down into the D-cell area here of outer zone 3, transitions back to outer zone 4, a little bit shallow there. He tries to work it out to that outside line and over-rotates ever so slightly and gets very far inside of the inner clip as he comes around outer zone 5 and nearly has to back out again. That car maybe not playing ball with him at the moment.
Definitely an unfortunate end to that run. As you can see here, he does shallow off the angle just to let the car float up the bank a little bit more, just to get the momentum. Does a good job of getting it into out zone 2. And then as he comes around into our clip 3, this is kind of where things start kind of falling apart. As he comes through the transition, you can see here, does a good job getting into 4, but he's shallow. So he has to start left foot braking to get the car into there. And obviously with the amount of power they have and everything like that, sometimes if you put too much left foot brake in, the rear is going to overtake the front, and that is why you potentially over angled there. And unfortunately it just didn't go the way he wanted, as he goes over outside 5 and just doesn't manage to get it in. It's definitely going to be an interesting one, and we'll have to see what he's got in his first score, because it's potentially that he won't make it into the top 32 as well. As we get a score of 65. So unfortunately, 40th position. He will not be seeing top 32 action this weekend.
Yeah, as we go back to the line, that Max Racing S13, beautiful car of Marek Vartalovic, 850 horsepower in this car as he comes through the start chicane and pedals that car all the way down. Big flick entry here as he comes into outer zone 1. Would like to be a little bit deeper as he powers that S13 up the bank and across towards outer zone 2. Maybe a little bit shallower than he would have liked. Down into the D-cell here. Misses outer zone 3 as he goes into outer zone 4 very late, and even dropped the wheel possibly coming around there. Grip levels could be changing at the track here today as he comes around through the inner clip and across outer zone 5 and across the line. Brandon, what do you think? Are the grip levels changing here? Are people getting caught off?
Potentially, as the sun starts to get lower and lower, the temperatures go down, which means the grip goes up. So it is changing constantly. So these drivers do have to keep on their toes, and I can imagine the grip levels have gotten exceedingly higher between run 1 and run 2. As you can see here, he's just struggling to get the car to do what he needs it to do. Bringing around into the carousel, just so much grip in that car.
Yeah, absolutely. See here, even almost over-rotating as well in that same section of track. So I wonder, is there something down there that's throwing some drivers?
Is definitely an interesting one for the grid, but obviously this is drifting, so you got to be prepared for these situations. but unfortunately, they're not exactly weather professionals, or rubber professionals, should I say. But he does get 12th place, so he is an improvement. It is not an improvement over his first run, so we'll have to see. But Lucas Wilczek, with a 91 in his first run in that E46, we'll have to see what he can do with his second run. As we come down the main straight now, that E46 firing it in, coming around into Aglet 1, a bit shallow there compared to his first run. Oh, but going off, 4 wheels off, he's gonna, oh, and he hits the wall. Very unfortunate end, but obviously he is secured into the top 32 with that 91. That is just a very, very unfortunate way to end his qualifying session, and now he's got to make some repairs to that car for top 32 tomorrow.
Yeah, as he does some left and right action there just to see if everything's okay in the car. Tries to shake maybe some of that gravel out. But yeah, not ideal at all. Let's have a look and break this down. What happened here? As he flicks in here, the car does get onto angle, but doesn't get onto as much angle as he would like. He had to try and make a correction. And as he did that, the car just completely washed right wide. It was too little too late, and he just went straight into the barrier. So hopefully there's not too much damage on the back of that car. I don't think there's a rear setup in the back of that car, so hopefully nothing important back there, as he will get a 0, but he does have that 91 from his first run, leaves him in 7th position for the moment. As we go back to the line, we have Mateusz Fiał on the line ready to go and send it down that main straight, Brandon.
Definitely in that GT86, almost like Lightning McQueen in that sense of red. Really cool car, plenty of power, plenty of speed, so we'll have to see as he sends it down the main straight. Now here we go, sending it absolutely wide. This is where you want to be. This is actually a really good line, but he does pull into the bank, unfortunately in the wrong time, and he has to make a correction. Oh, a bit of an angle check up there. The car seems to be a bit looser than he seems to have expected it to be. Look at this here. Getting a nice bit of angle on as he comes through to the inner clip. Looking good through this section. Definitely.
A lot more power down so that he can just hold through outer zone 2, but he ends up coming out of it a little bit early. Not ideal. As he transitions back here, it's a very late transition to get into outer zone 3. He ends up putting some of the front wheel in there, but then the angle snaps back and really kind of catches him off guard, and he ends up dropping a wheel there coming through outer zone 4 on the very end, or at the very start of it there, and I'm pretty sure that wheel drop continues on throughout the rest of the zone. When he comes around here through the inner clip, he does actually manage to hit that A-line with that trailing wheel, so that will be scored quite well for him, and then across outer zone 5 and across the line. So a good few mistakes there, but again, there's a few bits there that really do look good, so it'll be down to the judges whatever they think to deem the score, but we will have to wait for that to come through.
Definitely, Kian. Obviously, this is a judge sport, so nothing's ever set in stone. As Mateusz Fiał gets a 70 in his second run, so unfortunately just missing out on the top 32. So unfortunately, he will be packing it up and heading away for the weekend, as we now have Joachim Wagard at the line in that crazy M4 with 820 horsepower. Plenty of power, plenty of weight, plenty of wash. This car is absolutely crazy, as we have him going down the main straight now. Here we go, going into the initiation, a bit deep there. And he does have to correct for it as he comes around to outer 2, and he goes deep once again, dropping wheels off. And he is trying to go crazy for this run, just to try and make an improvement as he comes around into outside zone 4. Does a good job around the carousel so far. And it does look like people are struggling with how much angle they get in that section at the moment, but he does make it work as he comes across the line through outside zone 5.
Yeah, I think with the break there, the track has gotten a bit cold. So what's happened is the grip level is quite different to what it was originally. Now I'm thinking there's a little bit less grip out there. As we can see, a lot of drivers are actually starting to run that wide line going up the bank instead of being pushed down like they were earlier on. So we can see as they come through here into the roundabout section, the angle through here, there's a lot of it because there's not enough grip for the car to catch and just stay on a nice smooth angle. They have to end up throwing on a lot of angle and then trying to correct it. But this is, from here, it's very, very good. He leaves outer zone 4 a little bit early than he would have liked, but it gets that inner clip fairly dialed in between the A and B line, more towards the A line there, and then across to outer zone 5 and across the line. So we will see what happens with his score when it drops in for Joachim Vagard from Norway. And it does drop in there. It's a 74 on run 2, which leaves him in 21st position from his first runs at 79.5. As we go back to the line with Jan Koźny in that E36 GTR, ready to send it down as we get the lights gone green. He leaves that start line today and starts to fly through the gears here as he goes for a huge flick entry through outer zone 1, up the bank towards outer zone 2, or down towards the hill in outer zone 3. Decels that car. Oh, gets it very wrong there. Washes very wide. Gets into outer zone 4 very, very late. Nearly using that inner clip as an outer clip again as he goes through the inner clip, probably this time. And shuts it down just before the wall and makes contact with the wall then on top of that. So very, very interesting run here for Jan. Let's have a quick breakdown on this. So he initiates here fairly good, gets into outer zone 1, brings the car very, very nicely up the bank. Now you can see he'll start to go wide, and then he starts to drop down from here. He does manage to collect outer zone 2, I believe, as he transitions down here to the D-cell. You can pretty good through there, not right on the line there. Now, this is where it all goes wrong. Probably got out onto the marbles around a little bit of dust where there's no grip there. Had to transition late and then gets out, therefore, late into outer zone 4. As he's driving around here, it's actually fairly clean on the line. Does leave outer zone 4 at kind of the best time to get out to the inner clip here as he powers the car down. He put full power down to get out to outer zone 5, but it hasn't gone right there. He has straightened out and just tries to reinitiate to get it across, but the judges will be taking a good few deductions on that for the last part of that run. As we do, there's 0 and leaves him just outside the top 32 as a 33rd position qualifier. So unfortunately, he will drop out of competition for this weekend. We'll see him back in Poznan for the finals. As we move it along to Zadnek, will leave the line here in that beautiful E46, I believe it is, as he does a massive flick initiation here into outer zone 1 and across up the bank, powering that E46 through this course as he decells down into outer zone 3, just misses outer zone 3, around outer zone 4 here, bringing it nice and wide there around outer zone 4. Can he make it work for the inner clip? Yes, he can, as he goes across outer zone 5 and across the line. This is very, very interesting. Now, this is a very clean run. I'd like to see how the judges are going to score this run for Zadnek Kamerbeck. I am definitely butchering that name, but however. So, very, very clean through here. Nice wide line, exactly what the judges are looking for. And does manage to collect outer zone 2, I believe. He does just manage to catch the inside line of that zone. Coming through 3 here, just about clips the inner line of it. Transitioning back here, this is really where it starts to really shine. Very, very clean, smooth arc through outer zone 4 the whole way around here. We can see with the drone shot how nice of an arc this actually was. And when he gets in and tightens up the line into the inner clip, he does run that inside line with the trailing wheel and powers that E46 across, but does just end up clipping outer zone 5. He would have liked to be a little bit deeper there, but not a bad run by any stretch of the imagination. 77 leaves him in 27th position overall. As we move it back to the line, we have Mikael Reichardt on the line. A lot of Czech Republic guys in the chat here looking to support Mikael Reichardt and all the other Czech Republic drivers as he leads the line going through Caroline Chicane. Starts to absolutely unleash all 1,100 horsepower in that E36. Put the forward, gets up that bank, trying to get out of doesn't manage to do it, has a slight correction there afterwards. Gets through outer zone 3, transition back to 4, puts wheels over the line there, outer zone 4, as he puts back into the right line there, getting into the inner clip there, running that A-line with the trailing wheel, across outer zone 5 and across the line goes Mikkel Reichardt, doing a very, very tidy job all together. So let's have a look, let's break this down. Good initiation here, very clean, straight through the outer zone 1. Big power on now. You can see all the smoke starting to develop out of the back of that car, but again, there's a lot of grip in this car. It does force him down the bank a little bit. There's quite a good bank there on that part of the track underneath outer zone 2. Coming through outer zone 3, very, very nice, very technical, slows the car down nicely, but ends up having to go wide with just the placement of the car there. Unfortunately, does manage to get it back onto the line very nicely as he comes around here. This is really a good show of how good of a driver Mikkel Reichardt is. Arcs it perfectly through into the inner clip. A very, very smooth arc. No kind of waivers or corrections. It was just fluid. That's what the judges are looking for, is that fluidity. That's in the style section of the judging criteria, as we will wait for the judges to drop in their scores for Mikkel Reichardt. You can see Carolina Pilarczyk lining up underneath the modal start line there after warming up her tyres. We will just wait for that to come through, and we do get a score, and it is a 70 on the board, leaves him in 37th position, and unfortunately Mikkel Reichardt out of competition for this weekend. That'll be all she wrote for his weekend. As we go back to the line, Carolina Pilarczyk on the line, ready to send her V8 Pro Charge S15 down. Made 85 on her first run, so let's see what she can do on her second run. Can she clean it up and get up into the 90s? Let's see. Fires that S15 down through outer zone 1, pedals the car up through outer zone 2. This is very, very tidy from Carolina as she transitions down through 3. Oh, just crossed wheels. Very late transition here into outer zone 4, getting into it. Got into outer zone 4, did recover that quite well, but the judges will be marking her down for that. She is a little bit inside there on the inner clip as she comes across outer zone 5 and across the line. Very, very good job up until that one little mistake on that little bit wide kind of upset the rest of the run for Carolina. Good initiation here. You can see how she drops in a little bit and then lets the car float back up onto outer zone 2. Very, very nicely there. And as she's coming down here, maybe does she not decel enough? She does do a little bit of a handbrake drag, but I think it's a little bit too late. She does get out onto the dust and marbles out there. Has to handbrake as she's coming around just to get back into that outer zone there. So I'm not doing too bad of a job. Good recovery there from Carolina, but I'm not sure if it's enough to improve her score of an 85 already. We shall see what happens when the judges drop in their scores. As we wait for the judges to drop in their scores, Carolina will pull back into her pit and relax for the evening. As we do get a score, it's a 66.5 for Carolina, leaving her in 13th position from her first run with that 85. So we will see her back, hopefully, for top 32. I don't think she can be knocked out too far down. Anyway, as we go back to the line, we do have Jozrak Christoph on the line as he flicks that F22 BMW in through outer zone 1. Big entry there from Christoph as he powers through outer zone 2 and powers that. A lot of grip looked like in that car. He pedaled that car and put it back online, and he's a little bit late into outer zone 4 here as he arcs that F22 around into the inner clip. Good line through the inner clip, across outer zone 5 and across the line he goes. Very interesting there to see. So let's have a look. Let's break it down. Through outer zone 1 there, very, very clean. And does float that car very nicely up through outer zone 2. That is one of the nicest lines we've seen go up into outer zone 2. But this is where it starts to get a little bit weird. He powers that car and it almost straight lines down towards the outer edge of the track. When he comes through outer zone 3, he has two very quick transitions. and brings him around late into outer zone 4. But then from here on, it seems to be fairly good. Not really anything to talk about. No mistakes, no quite a fluid run through here as he does get that A-line through of the trailing wheel of that F22 into the inner clip and across outer zone 5 and across the line. So he should be happy with that. And we'll see what the judges made of that one.
It is definitely an interesting qualifying session, even in the second half. It's definitely going to be intense for tomorrow. All of these drivers are going crazy, even in qualifying, trying to push as hard as they can. And as you can see there, everyone's just watching from the balconies of our pit lane building, our race control, as it would be known as for the official circuit. I'm not too sure if our judging panel is in there. I'm not too sure where they're based at the moment. I do believe they potentially might be in there, but as we get a score coming through, a 76.5, putting him in 28th position. So a nice improvement there and solidifying him closer towards the top 32. As we have Christian Ellenson at the line with 1,038 horsepower in that BRZ, I think, or is it FRS? I can't tell. Either way, it's all the same chassis with the Batman logo on the front of that car, throwing it into the initiation nice and fast, fulfilling out of clip 1. It's getting to a point where we can't even see it, but look at the angle from it going through out of zone 2, transitioning now into out of clip 3, doing a solid job as they come around now into out 4 of the, I almost forgot the name of it, the carousel, as we come around now in towards inner clip 5, well, inner clip 1 and towards outer clip 5. Looking very good there from Christian, and a very good second run.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good run there. Looking very good there from Christian Erlandson. Let's break it down. A little bit of a straight line entry, but once he gets on angle, he fires that car up the bank around outer zone 2 here. Look at how nicely he does out that. Maybe just half a wheel drop there on the outside of the track. Massive amounts of angle coming down into outer zone 3. Not even a handbrake tab there to de-style the car. Completely just using angle to slow the car as he comes around into outer zone 4 here. Just gets back on power. Maybe another wheel drop there from Erlandson coming around outer zone 4, but then tidies it up for the rest of the zone. As he comes around, you can see him. I'm pretty sure that's the tire smoke actually kicking up dust there on the outer edge of the track. He comes through inner clip 1 and across outer zone 5. This car is nuts. It's a very, very fast car. These CN6 chassis are nuts to deal with, and they're becoming, I would like to go out on a limb here and say they're becoming the new S chassis. People are starting to figure out how to set them up for drifting properly. Even in terms of grassroots setups, they're very easy to do, cheap. In some countries, not in Ireland or in the UK, but in other countries, they're very easy to do and they're very cheap to do. So when you get to the high profile level of drifting, they are actually turning out to be some of the very well set up cars. And like you said earlier, Brandon, the Shanahans leading that one out. They know how those CN6 chassis work within an inch of their lives. They're very well set up. So.
Do you know Martin Monacott, who has the Betty Surf Shop Chaser in the UK, in England?
I do.
Yes. So he's actually planning to make a GT86 Pro car for his next car. So even Martin Monacott. Yep, even Martin Monacott, which is amazing. But Christian Ellenson, 83.5. Yeah, very unfortunate there, but still solidified at 10th place. So a good place to be, regardless. Obviously, we are just absolutely... We are glazing the CN6 chassis at the moment, as we have Artur Havalenko on the line gear.
Yeah, Artur Havalenko in that next CN6 chassis as he fires it down towards the initiation, flicks across the track, in through outer zone 1, across, up to outer zone 2, does do a good job, just about tags it there, transitions back down into outer zone 3, and rotates the car back around for outer zone 4, does do a good job, maybe just, I don't know if he dropped the wheel there as he comes down into the inner clip, does do very nicely onto that inner clip as he powers the car around outer zone 5 and across the line. Artur Havalenko, the Ukrainian driver, doing an incredible job there in that CN6 chassis.
As always, like, these guys just know what they're doing, know what they have to do, And obviously, as you can see here, absolutely pinning it onto the throttle and getting it right around the track the way he needs to. As you can see, as he comes around into out of 4, out of 3 could have been a bit cleaner, but he gets into out of 4 really nicely. And the challenging part is now is getting that covered in rubber and everything like that. That is really, really hard to see. So this is where the challenge really lies, but you feels outside zone 5 really, really well as well.
Yeah, as we wait for the scores to drop in, we get a nice view of Kielce, the little balcony there. Everybody can have a look and see. I presume you can see quite a lot from that vantage point there. As we do have Dominic Kerr pulling to the line here. In that Opel GT, very, very cool car, very rare car. I think he might be the only one in the world drifting one of them in pro competition, as we do get every Harvilenko score, and it is an 89, dropping him up into the 9th position, so that is a good improvement for him from his first run, as we do go back to Dominic Corr on the line with that big wing on the back of that Opel GT. 780 horsepower in this car. This thing is nuts.
Definitely, Dominic Kerr. Go on.
As he flicks wide, and it just fires it around the bank. Doesn't get out to outer zone 2 as he comes down into outer zone 3 here. He's going to have to slow it down majorly as he rotates that car out for outer zone 4. Gets in there late as he flies around into the inner clip here. Doing a very tidy job on that arc. Very smooth and fluid arc as he comes around to outer zone 5 and across the line. Good job from Dominic Kerr there. A little bit iffy on that initiation there, Brandon.
Definitely not the cleanest initiation, but he does clean up the run considerably, obviously missing outside zone 2, but he does find his pacing as he gets towards 3, and obviously being in a very unorthodox chassis representing the little guys, he starts to find his pacing into out zone 4, and this is where he starts to get back onto that qualifying line. Unfortunately, it is not the easiest one for him to recover on, and he does do a good job though, keeping it nice and wide going through outside zone 4. And I've got to, outside zone 5, sorry. I've got to say, I'm really falling in love with that car. I'm starting to. I love the way the rear end looks on those. It kind of reminds me of the Vauxhall Roadster things that they did. I can't remember what they were called.
Well, they are the same car, Brandon.
Oh, are they?
Yes, 77.5 for Dominic Kerr on the board. They're similar cars, not that different at all. A few minor changes, but I've actually seen Dominic Kerr's Opel GT back in the day when it was Driftingowe cars. It was showing my age now, but yeah, Drift All-Stars. As we go back to the line, we do have Magic Jarkovic entering through and filling outer zone 2, doing an incredible job on that S15 as he transitions back here for outer zone 3 and rotates the car back around for outer zone 4, as I cannot see what's happening here, but doing a good job, I would presume, with outer zone 4 through the inside clip here, and we will see him come through outer zone 5 and across the line, just missing outer zone 5. Nice and wide line here, Brandon, from Magic.
Definitely a good start to the run, keeping it nice and tidy. And as you can see there, does shallow up a bit though, going into out of 4, so that will hurt his score a bit, as it will be a bit difficult. As you can see here, coming around into, and this is where he struggles. He is a bit too shallow in the inner clip and ends up coming a bit too shallow into out of 5. So we'll have to see what that scores, but we have just been told that we are going to have a brief break to repaint the lines just so it's easier for the judges and the drivers, and we have got a little surprise show there. As you can see, they're already at the start line. These things are really cool. We saw these in practice, and I fell in love with them the second I saw them. So just bear with us for a second while we wait for his second score, and we'll be having a quick little enjoyment break as Magic gets a 68.5, but unfortunately that is not enough to get him into the top 32, so unfortunately we will have to see him at the final. But here we go, the coolest thing I've ever seen. Little go-karts, and I do believe they do go sideways as well. These things are absolutely awesome. and we are just going to be doing some line painting soon, just so we can get the track feeling fresh. But these things are really, really cool. Look at that. It goes sideways.
Yes.
Go-karts that go sideways. Oh, we love
I believe
it.
they have little PVC, yeah, you can see them, little PVC outers on the tires and the rear tires there. That's sick.
Do you know what this
I think
reminds
I have
me
my
of?
new project
Is-
for the winter.
This reminds me of when I went to Big Bang Circuit in Yokohama, Japan. And
Yes.
it is very much like that. Very, very much like that. And it makes me miss it, because Big Bang, if you ever get the chance, go to Yokohama in Japan. There's a place called Big Bang, and it is all just drifting go-karts, and it is great. Look at it! They're fulfilling the zones as well. They're actually doing the layout. That is amazing.
Yeah, I think I have a new winter project now. I might be building one of these things. I'll have to
Honestly,
get on Facebook
genuinely.
Marketplace and see if I can buy a go-kart.
Yep, Drift Chat's in the chat saying how cool these are as well. So Drift Chat, should we make a championship for these? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do a go-kart championship.
I believe we could
there's
probably
the
make it
cough.
happen. Yeah, look, they're even doing the little chicane bit here as well. They're doing everything, whole track.
To be fair, those chicanes to them are what that big sweeper is to the normal cars. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, if we're scaling it properly here, we are they gonna go around again? Oh, they are. Yes.
So you know how F1
You know what?
starts in
Forget
go-karting?
the other half of qualifying. I just want to watch this for the rest of the day. Can we do that?
I do believe we have an interview.
Ekipa Max Racing Team, Marek Wartełowicz, Max Miękoś. Dzień dobry panowie.
Witam, witam.
Słuchajcie, no musimy o tym torze porozmawiać, o tym co tu się dzieje, bo no, spekulacji jest wiele. Czy to faktycznie aż taką robi różnicę, że ten tor się mocno nagrzał?
Różnica jest taka, że przez cały dzień jest bardzo gorąco. Z każdym przejazdem tej gumy na trasie jest coraz więcej, przez to mamy większą przyczepność. Chwila przerwy między przejazdami kwalifikacyjnymi tak jakby wybiła trochę z rytmu, myślę, zawodników i niektórzy się nie przygotowali na to. Ja całe szczęście się przygotowałem z ciśnieniem, ale nie przygotowałem się na słońce, które wychodząc z dużej patelni zaczyna prosto świecić w oczy i to mnie trochę zgubiło, nie ominąłem tą zonę właśnie trzecią. I myślę, że w tym momencie chyba to słońce jest większym problemem niż sama przyczepność.
No tak, tego nie bierzemy pod uwagę, bo nie widzimy tej trasy tak jak wy widzicie z kabiny, no a faktycznie może to być bardzo konfundujące. Tutaj jednak każde pół sekundy robi różnicę, no może nie milisekundy, no ale faktycznie takie oślepiające światło może spowodować to, że te pół sekundy macie straty i już ten refleks nie jest taki, jak powinien być.
Dokładnie i myślę, że z każdym przejazdem zawodnicy będą mieli coraz gorzej, bo to słońce będzie świeciło po prostu coraz niżej. Więc no, trzeba się przygotować, okulary albo może jeszcze dodatkowa blenda na przedniej szybie, żeby uniknąć takiego porażenia, że tak powiem, świetlnego po wyjściu z dużej patelni.
Max, muszę ciebie zapytać o te kwalifikacje semi-pro. No wy mieliście trochę łaskawsze warunki w takim razie?
Tak, ponieważ nie mieliśmy takiego dużego przestoju pomiędzy przejazdami, aczkolwiek naszym utrudnieniem jest regulaminowa opona, która ma mniej przyczepności niż ta używana w klasie Pro.
No ale widzieliśmy, że dobrze się chyba tutaj czujesz na torze w Kielcach.
Oczywiście, na każdym torze się czuję dobrze.
No tak, rozmawialiśmy już kilka razy, że wy w teamie macie tych przejazdów. Marek, liczysz ile w tym sezonie?
Oj, w tym sezonie nie liczyłem. Jedynie liczyłem, ile zużyliśmy paliwa, bo tak, od samego początku sezonu z Maxem trenujemy praktycznie co tydzień, co 2 tygodnie, jak tylko się pojawiły odpowiednie warunki i tak prawie 1500 litrów paliwa już udało nam się zużyć.
No i to też widać, no u Maxa ten progres jest bardzo szybki, ty po tym powrocie, no też widać, że coraz lepiej w tym nowym aucie chyba się czujesz.
Tak, właśnie dzisiejszy przejazd, pierwszy kwalifikacyjny, mam nadzieję, że mnie tak podbuduje, że jednak totalnie nie zardzewiałem i ta przerwa 4-letnia, którą miałem, kończy się i wracam z powrotem do walki.
No drodzy Państwo, mamy tutaj 2 pokolenia kierowców, człowieka, który już się nawygrywał, ale jeszcze chyba ten smak zwycięstwa gdzieś tam na końcu języka go bardzo mocno drażni. Z drugiej strony no, świeża krew, która też już ostrzy sobie zęby na to, żeby tutaj nawygrywać w klasie semi-pro. Muszę Cię, Marek, jeszcze zapytać o ten tor, to ustawienie, to wyjście. No właśnie i o to, o czym niezbyt często się mówi, bo tego nie widać w obrazku, czyli o początku, o tym podjeździe pod górkę, który też no, na obrazku go nie widać, ale jak tutaj kibice na torze się dobrze przyjrzą, to faktycznie jest coś takiego triki w tym torze, że pierwszy zakręt wchodzicie delikatnie pod górę i jeszcze pod kątem.
Tak, pierwszy zakręt jest dość mocno pochylony, rzeczywiście na transmisji tego nie widać, ale przez to, że jest pochylony, możemy wchodzić w ten zakręt z bardzo dużą prędkością, mamy około 130 km na godzinę, więc przekładając tą prędkość na obiekty o podobnej jakby charakterystyce pierwszego zakrętu, to na pewno byśmy wylatywali na zewnętrzną, a tutaj ta trasa nas trzyma i tak naprawdę trzeba się tak przełamać trochę psychicznie, żeby wyczuć ten moment, że trzeba iść na pełnym gazie od samego początku, że trasa nas przytrzyma, a nie wylecimy na zewnątrz, bo na początku przy pierwszych przejazdach treningowych jest takie uczucie, że możemy opuścić bardzo szybko tą trasę, pobocza za dużo nie ma, więc każdy jechał dość tak zachowawczo na początku, ale jak się zawodnicy powjeżdżali, że trzeba wręcz dużo więcej trzymać gazu niż logika by podpowiadała, to te przejazdy zaczynają wyglądać fajnie, są po krawędzi i myślę, że większość zawodników właśnie w ten sposób jedzie.
Max, ja wiem, że to nie twój pierwszy raz na tym torze, ale czy każdy pierwszy wyjazd po pojawieniu się na tym torze właśnie tak wygląda, że trzeba trochę się przełamać?
Tak, zgadza się. Za każdym razem na rozpędzie jest po prostu tłok myśli i zastanawiasz się, czy na pewno nie jedziesz za szybko.
No dobra, panowie, przed tym jak będę wam życzył powodzenia jutro w jeździe w parach, jeszcze nam powiedzcie, czy pamiętacie pierwsze auto, którym zaliczyliście drift?
Syrena 105 Bosto.
Max?
BMW 46 taty.
No to nie będziemy tutaj mówić nic o wieku kierowców, będziemy życzyć powodzenia w jutrzejszej jeździe w parach. Dzięki panowie.
Dzięki.
Dziękuję.
So a cheeky little interview there. Well, I'd say little. It was quite a hefty interview there with the Max Racing team there, both in semi-pro and pro. Obviously got Marek in pro, and then you have our lovely saucy S14 driver in semi-pro. Probably the best S14 in existence, but we have Peter Yutasi in for his second run now, looking good. Nice and wide so far, but wasn't pulled back in. Can he get it back up there? Kind of does. I think he does miss outside turn 2 though. Does a good job going into 3. Goes around now into the carousel at 4. Looking solid through here though, with that V8 absolutely screaming, but over rotates. Too much left foot brake once again, haunting these drivers in that carousel.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, again, like the other side of this is as well, that's fresh paint that's just gone down there and it is on the tires. So there's another thing that drivers have to deal with. This is part of drifting. This happens at every event. So this is a very nice line coming through outer zone 1, works it up towards outer zone 2, doesn't really get there, but does come down towards outer zone 3 very, very nicely. Does get the D-cell nice as he comes down through outer zone 4. Starts to reel in that outside line, gets very nicely on there, but has a bit of a correction there, and that's where the over-rotation starts, and it just keeps going from there. It does try to save it, but unfortunately, it was already gone from that one correction there for Peter Yutasi, and he will not confirm there. That will be a 0 for him down on the board, so we will see where that leaves him. I believe that will actually leave him outside of the top 32 altogether, but we will see what the judges say. Yeah, so that is 32nd position. So he is right on that edge of top 32. So we shall see what happens there. As we go back to the line, we've had Pavel Hudacek on the line. Nissan 350 8 horsepower, 85 on the first run as he leaves the line in that 350 and starts to unleash all of the horsepower out of that 350 engine. We flick nice and wide through out of zone 1, flick across up the bank, make out of zone 2 work, and as he transitions back here, has to do a fast piece that pulls on a lot of angle. Get around out of zone 4, rotate that car perfectly. Does drop a wheel there on the outside of zone 4. Comes around, dials that car around for the inside flip. Does land a little bit of the car inside, has to straight zone 4's out of zone 5 and across the line. Very, very scrappy, but a good run nonetheless from Pavel Hudacek. Brandon, what do you make of this one?
definitely representing the 350 drivers out there. To be fair, there's not many in competition, so definitely doing a good job with that chassis. Look at the angle he got there, the amount of lock that car can get. Unfortunately, just here, he does drop a tyre off of the zone, and it does get very scrappy from here. As you can see, it does cut very inside and goes over the inside clip, which is not what we want to see, but does a good job of fulfilling outside zone 5. Could have been a bit deeper, but obviously is kind of making up for the scrappiness of that run.
Yeah, we'll wait for the judges to drop in their scores for Hudacek, as we will go back to the line there. And on the line, I believe that we'll have Thomas Magner waiting to go down the straight. And I believe we should get a score now in a couple of seconds. Yes, there we go. An 82.5. And not an improvement for Hudacek, but it leaves him in 16th from his first run. So hopefully that will work out well for him, and he will stay in the top 32 for the foreseeable. As we go back, that 190E of Thomas Magner, 850 horsepower in this Mercedes. And surprisingly, small car, but this thing packs a punch. Let's watch this run here as he flicked into the initiation on the second run there, across outer zone 1, carries the speed and gets up onto the bank, fills outer zone 2, lovely through there as he transitions back, gets the decel down into outer zone 3, as he transitions back around now to outer zone 4, hooks up into that outside line, comes nice around. You have to arc it tighter now into this inner clip, as he does very well here, and across outer zone 5 and across the line goes Thomas Magner. Unbelievable run here from the Mercedes 190E driver, Brandon.
Very, very impactful run here. As you can see, Tomas just absolutely pedaling that car around the first embankment. As he comes around into outer clip 3, does a solid job there. Could have been a little bit deeper, but that's me being a perfectionist at this point. Does a nice job getting into 4. Once again, it's the case of it's just got to get in there a bit earlier. But doing a really, really good job coming through the inner clip as well on that A-line. Potentially maybe just going a little bit too deep, but we'll have to see as he comes across the line. I've actually I've actually just been
the chat here.
Yeah, I've literally just seen it. Like so apparently there is a PVC drifting championship for the go-karts. That is awesome. I need to go check that out. Yep, I know. You know what? Screw UK championship drifting. I'm aiming for. I'm not building my MX-5 anymore. I'm getting a PVC car.
And it's an 89 for Thomas Magner. Drops him into 9th position. He'll be happy with that. Good improvement for him. But yeah, Brandon, can we build one of them and go compete in that instead?
Yep. To be fair, a lot of people would say that the PVC car will probably be more reliable than the MX-5.
As we leave the line here, who do I have here? I don't even know who's on the line. I can't even see the car as it comes through outer zone 1
Zolt
there,
Homan.
nice and wide. Up Zolt Homan, yeah, up onto outer zone 2, just a little bit shallow off there as he comes down through outer zone 3. Lots of angle piling on there as he rotates the car around for outer zone 4. Gets the power on now to arc that car lovely through outer zone 4 and tightens it up now for the inner clip, and he does that beautifully as he comes across outer zone 5 and across the line, tagging the wall on his way out. Very, very nice run there from Zolt Homan.
Very good for almost said first one. We're in the second one. God, I'm going back in time now. So looking pretty solid. Obviously that S13 doing bits. Really, really good chassis to be driving. As you can see that getting into out zone 4 perfectly there for keeping both wheels in, keeping it fulfilled. A little bit of left foot brake just to let it play. Also utilizing left foot brake to angle the car up more than steering input, which is a very clever way of doing that. But as he comes through out of zone 5, fulfills that perfectly and almost takes the wall as he comes across the line. Very good second run there from Zolt, and I know he's going to be happy with that.
Yeah, as we wait for Zolt's score, I should get it through now in a couple of seconds.
So yes, indeed. So Zolt Homan getting an 86.5 from a 0, so going all the way up into 13th place. So he has secured himself into the top 32. So I know he's going to be happy with that. But we have Martin Neyman now in that F22, giving his wheels a little wiggle, making sure his steering back's doing its thing. I think that's just a nerves thing, to be fair. A lot of people tend to do that because of nerves. But as we see him going in, that V8 is singing as he comes around with the supercharger, also screaming, also coming around into outer zone 2. Does a good job. Oh, just a little bit of a checkup there as he hits the dust of the painted zones. But looking pretty decent so far. But just checks up there. And that is going to be a big checkup, potentially, for the judges as he comes around and he misses the inner clip. But will he miss outer zone 5? He just touches it, and definitely not the most ideal line to be taking.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's break this down here. Good initiation here. Everybody's getting the initiation fairly decently as we work around up to outer zone 2. You can see he does grab outer zone 2 very, very nicely there, Marcin, as he transitions back here into outer zone 3. Does a very tidy job, decels that car properly so he can rotate the car around to outer zone 4, but it just stalls up, unfortunately. Maybe he just missed a gear there, or the car just didn't engage right, so gets around fluidly anyway to the end of outer zone 4. Does miss the inner clip there, and then kind of has a bit of a straighten out there before outer zone 5. He does manage to tag outer zone 5 and then possibly the wall at the end there, but we will see what the judges make of that one. There will definitely be deductions, unfortunately, for Marcin Neyman as we wait for that score to come in. I believe we have Alexandra Fiau on the line waiting to send down. She is in the women category 2 also. All of our women drivers are in the women driver category also, as well as whatever pro or semi-pro championship they're in, and that is a 74.5 on run 2 for Marcin Neyman, leaves him in 21st from his first run there. As we do go down to the line is Alexandra Fiau waiting to send it down the main straight and pilot her RPS 13 200SX through this Kielce course as she goes through the gears and starts to flick initiate down into outer zone 1, up the bank into outer zone 2, maybe just too shallow of outer zone 2 there. She transitions, comes down into the decel of outer zone 3, around to outer zone 4, and just gets into outer zone 4 a little bit later than she would have liked. Nice fast-paced run here, but she wanted to tuck it in for the inner clip, and she does, across outer zone 5, fills outer zone 5 and across the line for Alexandra Fiau. Brandon, what do we make of this?
Definitely an interesting run, to say the least, as Alexandra Fiau does a good job of keeping it up onto the bank, but does fall short there on the outside zone 2. She comes around into 3, not looking too bad, but just definitely needs, it's getting a bit scrappy, especially going into the entry of a lot of these clips and zones. But then she manages, once she gets in there, she does a good job of keeping it together, and then as she comes around through the inner clip into outer 5, it does a good job of keeping it nice and wide and across the line.
Yeah, very good driver in Alexandra Fiau, not doing too bad at all. Where is she sitting in the championship? I cannot find really quick. Yeah, she's sitting 20th in the championship overall at the moment, so not having a bad season, not having the worst season ever. But yeah, we'll see what drops in for her score here in this qualification for round 3 at Tor Kielce. As on the line, I believe, is Tobias Pushan waiting patiently there in his E92. As we get the score here for Alexandra Fiau, I think. Possibly, maybe. Who knows? Yep, there we go. So 68.5 for Alexandra Fiau, and her first run leaving her in 32nd position with that 75. So she will be hoping that she can make it into top 32 tomorrow. As we move it back to Tobias Pushan on the line, we get the green lights. Now, there we go. And Tobias will lead the line, start line chicane as he pedals that BMW 92, flicks very much. And into outer zone 1, very nice initiation there from Tobias Pushan as he moves it up towards outer zone 2, maybe a little bit power than he would have liked. He transitions back down through the decel and lots of angle there, rotates the car around outer zone 4 and very, very cleanly around and fluidly through the inner clip, back out to outer zone 5 and across the line for Tobias Pushan, doing a very, very nice job there. Let's break that down here. So good initiation, nice flick initiation there. Carries the speed very well, but unfortunately just drops him that little bit too far down. He would have liked to be a little bit deeper there, I'd say, as he comes down. Does that little bit of a decel, gets back on the power right before the decel ends. Very, very smart driving from Tobias, as he does a very, very clean job around outer zone 4 here and arcs it very nicely, tightens up the line to get into that outer, or that inner clip even, and around outer zone 5 and across the line. So judges will be happy with that one, I'd say, and I'm not too sure what he got on his first one. I didn't quite catch that, so we will see where that leaves him. I'm sure hopefully he will get a bit of a increase in score. That would be lovely for him. It's what most of our drivers are looking for. They're looking for that extra little bit there. Other than the drivers, I suppose, who got 96s and stuff like that. There's not much to improve on there except for 4 points. Don't know where they're finding them 4 points, but most of our drivers here looking for a little bit of an increase. And Tobias Pushan, he was on a 0 to begin with, and now on an 85, drops him into 17th position. Very, very good run from Tobias Pushan. He'll be very happy with that. That will put him into top 32 tomorrow, hopefully. As we go back to the line, Samuel Mendelov, 76.5 in his first run. Another E92 BMW with 711 horsepower as he leaves the line through the start line chicane, goes to flick that E92 down into outer zone 1, does a very good job. Lots of speed here. A little bit of a correction there, does end up missing outer zone 2. Maybe drops a wheel there before outer zone 3, rotates the car back around here to outer zone 4. And then has to tighten up that line into the inner clip as he comes around outer zone 5 and across the line. Very good driving, very technical driving there from Samuel Mendelov. As we'll break it down here, very nice initiation there. This was the only little mistake that I saw, was this little bit of a waver there, and it just kind of warded him off the second outer zone as he comes in here. Maybe half a wheel drop there as he goes around outer zone 4 very, very fluidly. We see a lot of Slovakian flags in the chat there. Support for Samuel as he comes around here to outer zone 5 and across the line. Very, very nice driving there from Samuel. And we will wait for the scores to drop in there. As we get a nice overview, drone view of our nice area for our spectators, and we do get a score. It's an 81.5 for Samuel Mendelov. A nice little increase there, drops him into 22nd position. So he will be happy with that as we go back to the line. Greg Merilu, the Estonian, sitting on a 0. His car did break down on his first one. As he comes to a second one now, the car back working as he goes to initiate. Very, very, very wide line there from Greg Merilu as he fires at E92 all the way around outer zone 2, transitions back here to the decel of outer zone 3, rotates back around to outer zone 4. Very nice run here from the Estonian as he powers that E92 around into the inner clip here. How does he make work of it? He makes very quick work of it. Around outer zone 5 and across the line goes Greg Merilu. Very, very nice job there from him.
Greg constantly bringing in the heat as he comes around, obviously having a mechanical issue in the first run and coming back with an absolute heater for his second. So this will definitely be an interesting one as we wait for the score. But look at this from Greg Merilu, pulling it in lovely throughout zone 4. Just a little bit of a dirt drop there at the end, but manages to keep it going nicely, doesn't disrupt him, and he just keeps the run going nice and solid as he goes through 5. Well, if he gets into the top 32, that was a great save.
Well, I tell you, if there's something I can say about Greg, it's fluidity is part of his driving style. Everything is so fluid. There's no real kind of corrections or waivers in the car at all. It's a very, very one fluid movement. It is exactly what the judges would be wanting to see on the style side of things. In terms of line, there's one or two areas that the line judges might be looking at, but we'll see what drops in here now for Greg Merilu. as we wait there for him. And on the line is Bartosz Stolarski waiting patiently in that 200SX S15 as we have the marshal standing out. As Stolarski is kind of waiting, just hoping the marshal will get out of the way soon. And we do get a score here. It's an 88-point run for Greg Merlew, 12th position for the young gun. Very, very good job there. He will be happy with that. That'll drop into the top 32 for sure.
Definitely, but we do have Bartosz Stolarski in that lead lane now, ready for his second qualifying run. Doing quite well so far, so we'll have to see if he can make an improvement as he comes around now. Fast initiation, fulfills out at clip 1, lovely, as he comes around up into the embankment now, filling outside zone 2, lovely. Potentially we'll have to see on the replay as he comes around into the clip 3, doing a good job as he transitions now around into out zone 4, looking really solid, lots of speed, lots of commitment, plenty of smoke and angle as he comes around now into the inner clip, looking really, really solid as he now comes around into out zone 5 and across the line. Solid second run there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break this down. So Bartosz Stolarski, a heavy hitter in this championship. Very nice initiation as he carries that lots and lots of speed around the outer zone, through outer zone 2, gets it perfectly, collects it lovely as he transitions back down to outer zone 3 here, maybe just dropping a wheel there as he was coming around, rotates the car very nicely into outer zone 4 and starts to run that wide line. Possibly just one wheel will drop there on the leading wheel as he comes around, arcs it in tightly to the inner clip, gets that beautifully as he comes across to outer zone 5 and across the line. Bartosz Stolarski doing everything he needs to do there to make sure he holds his spot in top 32 action.
Definitely.
We do wait
What a
for the
crazy
scores to drop in.
We need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Honestly, today is not our
You know
day.
what, Brandon? If you buy me a car, I'll start doing it. And it's a 90-point run for Bartosz Stolarski, joining the 90-point club. Very, very top quality run there. As we go back to the line, it's Oris Miselchuk there, waiting for to get the green light. As the marshal steps away, he does get the green light. Brandon,
This is going to be an interesting one. Sweet. So we got Oris now in for a second run, looking very solid though on that initiation. Ooh, a little bit too deep there potentially. We'll have to see. There's too much smoke to really tell as he comes around now into our clip 3, doing a good job. Lots of angle as he comes around into the transition. 4 out of 4. Looking really good. A little bit of a checkup as he came through, so we'll have to see how the judges score that as he comes around. Maybe a bit too deep into the inner clip as well, but plenty of commitment as he comes across the line. Not too shabby at all, Orest.
Yeah, so we've just after noticing there on my list, Peter Kowalski not coming to the line, so we are moving on to Oris Miselchuk, obviously. So yeah, definitely 2 wheels off there, coming through between 1 and 2 there, possibly even through outer zone 2, 2 wheels off as he transitions back here to outer zone 3, gets a nice decel, but then dials on a lot of angle to then rotate the car back around for outer zone 4. Does manage to place the car quite neatly into outer zone 4. As you can see there, he's running that white line, painting it black, doing a very, very nice job. And this is the kind of thing now that the judges will want to check. Would that be chaseable in a lead run in a battle? Because that high angle there coming into outer zone 4, that's not really what they're looking for. Now, his line was very good. It was just that lack of fluidity. Like I was saying with Greg Merlew, Greg was just completely one fluid motion. There wasn't over-angling, there wasn't under-angling, or anything like that. And we do get a score, and it's not an improvement, unfortunately. It's a 78-point run for Oris that drops him into 25th position from his first run. If we go back to the line here now, we've Kamil Horecki on the line in that 1 Series BMW.
Definitely an interesting way to go about in qualifying. Obviously, these drivers are trying their hardest to put everything on the line to get in. So we'll have to see as what Horecki will do in that E82. Looking really good. Look at it. It's 3-wheeling around the entire embankment as he comes around now into out of 3. That thing is set up very soft in the front. But look at this from Horecki, doing a lovely job into out of 4. As he comes around the carousel, now coming through into the inner clip, looking very solid as he 3 wheels almost across the line, looking very solid. in his second run, and we'll have to see how that scores. But as we go through into the breakdown on the replay, looking very good through out of zone 1, or should I say out of clip 1. And as he comes around, you can just see that he doesn't fulfill out of zone 2 that easily. There's that much smoke, you can't really see that easily. As he comes around into our clip 3, does just touch it. So definitely not the most ideal line that we're looking for in qualifying. But we'll have to see what the judges scored at as he comes around that carousel. Just a little bit of a strange line he took throughout that first half of the course, and he had to try and recover it. Does a good job through the inner clip. As he comes through out of 5, kind of in there, kind of not. He's half in there, so scoring points, that is the main thing. He is in the area where he is needed, so we'll have to see what the judges think of that. As we await on his score, we do have our next driver down on the start line with that Motul branding on there, looking very, very nice. A massive shout out to our sponsors once again for making everything possible and being who they are, as they contribute amazing things into motorsport. As we just await on that score now for Horeki. Everyone looks like they're having a good time, at least that's the main thing. And it does look like the sun is going down over there at that track. So it is going to be getting a bit colder, which means the temperatures are going to be changing, which does add to more grip. But Kamil Horeki getting a 77.5 for his second run, which puts him in 30th position. So getting a better score, getting a better chance of getting into the top 32. But we aren't finished yet, as we do have Fabian Dorinski in that S14. And obviously that thing is pretty crazy. Oh, it's an S14-9, should I say. So we'll have to see what he does with this. He is on a 91, so he is guaranteed in the show. Let's see what we can do in the second run. Big flick initiation there as he comes around now into the embankment area. A little bit of left foot brake just to let it float through that zone 2. Lovely stuff. Big transition there. A bit of a strange line he took getting into there. Oh, just getting close to the wall as he comes around outside zone 4 on the carousel. Has to now bring it in for that inner clip. Looking good. Perfect on the A-line there as he comes around now onto out zone 5. Definitely not the best of runs there for his second. I wouldn't say it's better than the first, but obviously we've been proven wrong multiple times as we're not judges. So it's all depending on how they look at this. It's this section
not a bad
from
run
at or 2.
overall. Like it's just from here on, like a decent decel there. He was within the decel zone. It was just nice and tight. Does drop them wheels there. Unfortunately, will be a little bit of reduction. That line, is just it'll be whatever the judges think. We do have 2 line judges, and their scores will average out to each other, and that will be their overall line score. But we will see what they make of that in the end, and let's see what the score drops in for Fabian Dorozinski. As
Definitely.
we do have another heavy hitter lining up on the line there. We have Victor Anderson, who is sitting on a 90 plus score there. I know that. I can't remember. Is it a 92.5 or something that he is on?
I think so, yeah.
We will wait for Fabian Dorozinski's score to drop in that S14.9, and it drops in. It's an 88-point run, so not an improvement, but does sit him in position 7, and that will keep him safe for top 32, I believe. I don't think there's anyone else who can knock him any further down than 20th at the moment. Even less than that, maybe, as we go back to the line. Is Victor Anderson on the line? We have the heavy hitter Victor Anderson from Sweden, flicks that CN6 chassis right into outer zone 1. Fires it up on towards the bank, around outer zone 2, collecting it very nicely as he transitions back now through the decel zone down the hill, as he rotates it back around here now to outer zone 4, collects it beautifully on that outside line as he powers that TN6 on limiter through into the inner clip onto that B line, onto the wall, and across the line goes Victor Anderson. What a run! Unbelievable from Victor Anderson.
That was incredible, going from out of through the inner clip to out of 5. That was perfection. As you can see here, going through the first half of the course, looking really solid as he comes around now into out clip 3. This is really where it's special to me, because look at that line coming through into out 4. That is perfection. And the commitment from this man is absolutely insane. So I can see Swedish flags going up in the chat. But look at it from here. Keeps the angle going and doesn't even correct. He keeps it there. That is incredible. That is probably the best line I've seen going from the inner clip to outer zone 5. Hands down, the best execution of that so far today. As we have Kevin Roble, I do believe, at the start line as we await on that score. And wow, just absolutely insane. The standard constantly goes up, and that is how it should be. These guys want to get the points, so they have to work for it. As we just await on that second score, I do see an RX-8 down there. I think that's an RX-8. Yes, it is. Don't see them often anymore. Not many people actually like to buy them. I mean, I don't blame them. The 13B is not the most reliable engine in the world, and I will die on that hill.
Yep.
And if you disagree with me, if you disagree with us, then you're just wrong. You're just wrong.
You're driving a two-stroke at the end of the day. Let's be honest.
Yeah, pretty much a Dorito two-stroke. Don't get me wrong, rotaries are cool, but they're not reliable.
A 96-point run for Victor Anderson that drops him into first place. We have a three-way tie at the moment for first place. Oh my God!
Can Kevin Roble take that place? That is the question. With the Tsujigiri steering wheel in that car, I will never not point that out because that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But look at this initiation from Kevin Roble. Whoa! Massive initiation. Lots of angle, lots of style. But look at this from Kevin Roble as he comes around now in towards outer clip 3. This is looking crazy as he comes around now and transitions into outer clip 4, or should I say outer zone 4. This is absolutely wild. He is limiter bashing that car everywhere, keeping the angle on. Once again, look at this from Kevin Roble coming across the line.
Unbelievable run here from Kevin Roble. Let's break it down. So let's look at the entry first off. Huge entry, massive flick initiation through outer zone 1. Works it beautifully up the bank and does get into outer zone 2, collects it beautifully as he transitions back here down the hill through the outside zone, does a quick little jab of the handbrake and gets the car through outer zone 2, rotates around for outer zone 3 and gets onto that line. Maybe a little bit of a wheel drop there, nothing too major, as he pilots that car around outer zone 4 and tucks it into the inner clip beautifully, maybe even a little bit too far inside as he brings it around outer zone 5 and across the line. Kevin Roble out to prove a point today.
Could potentially see another 76, potentially 96. I've just seen someone put in the chat, 13B works fine if you just don't know how to maintain them. I don't want to know how to maintain them because they're awful. They've got they've got no torque, and the power band is just terrible. Don't get me wrong, love rotaries, but you shouldn't have to. It shouldn't be rocket science to know how to maintain one. But 95 for Kevin Roble, just falling short of the 96s, but he's still up there. Kian, I need your opinion on this rotary situation.
Well, I'm a diesel guy, so PD 130 don't have to maintain at all, so that works.
That is true. A good engine, you don't need to maintain one. Simple. But
exactly, as we go to Mateusz Suski on the line, coming down, initiating into outer zone 1 as he fires that Mark 5 Supra around. Oh, and he gets out of shape here as he goes through outer zone 2, as he transitions back down the hill through outer zone 3, transitions back to outer zone 4, trying to make the most out of this run that he can as he hits limiter in that Mark 5 Supra, and he shuts it down. Mateusz Suski shuts it down in the Mark 5 Supra after limiter bashing his full way. Let's have a look at that, Brandon. I have to break this down because there was a lot to unpack on that.
I do believe he potentially might have snapped a shaft there, because that was a very sudden shutdown. It might have been a clutch kick that just wrote a shaft off, but we'll have to see. By the way, to the bloke in the chat about defending 13Bs, we are kidding. We're only having a bit of fun. Please don't put a stake in us, we beg. I do have a lot of respect for the rotaries, especially the owners. But no, Mateusz Suski, obviously, just at the start of that run there, having a lot of difficulties in the embankment, just going too deep, and then it just kind of falls apart from there. Of course, as you can see there, coming around really nicely through outside 4. What I want to see is there any particular side that just stops as he leaves out of 4? It does look like potentially it could have been a shaft. Something definitely wasn't right there because he was on power and then suddenly it just shut down.
Definitely looks like it wasn't something he was expecting anyway. And 0 on the board.
Still 22nd
And
place though, so very,
we are
very
going to
easy.
take a short break here just so we can clean the track and get everything nice and organized for the rest of the grid. We are into our top 10, I believe. We are, yes, we're into our top 7 after Mateusz Suski.
Oh,
And
so I've just realised, Mateusz Suski, obviously, if we're having oil on the track, potentially, did he throw a rod, or is there something that's gone in the engine, or is it the diff? Like, something's clearly disconnected and something's not gone right, and oil is now exiting where it should have been. Very unfortunate.
Fundacja Kornatowski, dzień dobry, cześć.
Cześć, witam serdecznie.
Czym na co dzień się zajmujecie, nie tylko tutaj podczas Driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski?
Tak, poza Driftingowymi Mistrzostwami Polski szczególnie szkolimy dzieci i młodzież. Prowadzimy aktualnie program Klub Mistrzów Bezpieczeństwa. To jest program skierowany do dzieci i młodzieży od 13 roku życia do pełnoletności. Jeździmy po szkołach i budujemy świadomość wśród dorastającej młodzieży, czym jest bezpieczeństwo i jak podejmowanie ryzyka, jak przekłada się na ich bezpieczeństwo.
A czy to faktycznie jest tak, że my dorośli już powinniśmy z naszymi dzieciakami od najmłodszych lat zaczynać te dyskusje i pokazywać im, że no właśnie, miejsca i w ogóle motorsport, ale też jazda samochodem na co dzień jest fajna i może dawać dużo radości i to oczywiście jest super, no ale z drugiej strony trzeba zawsze mieć z tyłu głowy bezpieczeństwo.
Tak, i jestem absolutnie przekonany, że to na nas, na dorosłych ciąży to odpowiedzialność, żeby budować tę świadomość i uczyć dzieciaki. No my mamy w domu 3-latkę i 13-latka i generalnie oni nie są w stanie już wsiąść na rower bez kasku, wsiąść na hulajnogę bez kasku, przebiec przez ulicę lub zrobić cokolwiek ryzykownego, bo wiedzą, jakie konsekwencje z tym są związane. Natomiast wszystko da się połączyć. Nasz 13-latek za chwilkę idzie na pierwsze prawo jazdy po to, żebyśmy od najmłodszych lat mogli go uczyć, jak jeździć, czy na drodze, żeby oswajał się z tą odpowiedzialnością i z tym zagrożeniem, które jest wokół, jak również, żebyśmy mogli przyjechać na tor i troszkę go pouczyć od strony takiej adrenaliny sportu, żeby też jako młody człowiek mógł rozróżnić, czym jest jazda po torze, czym jest jazda na ulicy, żeby nie mieszał jednego z drugim, bo to są dwie różne dyscypliny.
No tak, sprawdzanie osiągów naszego samochodu na parkingu w nocy albo w górach, nie daj Boże, no nie jest chyba najlepszym pomysłem, a są takie miejsca jak Tor Kielce, na których można to zrobić w miarę kontrolowany sposób.
Absolutnie tak. Jest coraz więcej organizowanych pojeżdżawek, track day i innych imprez, gdzie pod okiem ekspertów na terenach do tego przystosowanych jak na przykład Tor Kielce i odpowiednio zabezpieczonym jeździć, ćwiczyć i uczyć się tej profesji w jak najbardziej bezpiecznych warunkach. Wystarczy chcieć poczytać, te tory są dostępne, te miejsca są dostępne, jest ich coraz więcej, można przyjechać i pojeździć jak najbardziej. Natomiast faktycznie jazda gdzieś na parkingach, czy nie daj Boże na drogach publicznych, widzimy ostatnio kończy się tragicznie.
Dawajmy dobry przykład, wpadajcie tutaj pod namioty nie tylko sami, ale także z dzieciakami, żeby tą edukację zaczynać jak najwcześniej. Wielkie dzięki.
Dziękuję uprzejmie, zapraszamy do naszej strefy, weźmy odpowiedzialność za bezpieczeństwo dzieciaków. Także zapraszamy i dziękuję.
Fortunately, I am not the best in Polish linguistics, so I can't explain what just happened there to any of the Polish speakers. I hope you understood. I don't know if you're much better.
I don't know a whole lot of Polish either. I know dziękuję and dzięki means thank you, and that's about it. That's the extent of my knowledge. One day I might understand.
You can't forget
Oh,
that.
tag means yes. Yeah, tag.
Yeah.
Yes, tag. As we see our beautiful crowd there enjoying the day and the evening now, getting the sun starting to go down. Maybe track temperature starting to come down a little bit. And
yeah, but that does mean grip goes up. That's what
it does indeed. It does.
A lot of people, you wouldn't think that when temperatures go down, grip goes up. It's weird how that works. Really, really weird. But then again, it means that the rubber on the track solidifies more onto the track.
Well, there
So-
is a thing where if you look at the likes of like racing in grip racing, it's kind of the opposite. Where in drifting, if the temperatures do come down, it actually does mean you have more grip in some cases. But for the likes of time trials or F1 or anything like that, they're looking for hot track temperatures, so the tires stick a lot better. But a lot of these guys running soft compound, so they do have a lot of grip regardless. Like I've seen a lot of these tires, I'm sure you have, Brandon, as well, where the extreme
Oh,
tires
yeah.
can literally leave a fingerprint in a cold extreme tire. It is nuts.
Yep, I mean, there was a show at one point, and I got to see Conor Shanahan's winning DMEC tire, the one he won, the winning lap tire, should I say, that he finished his championship with in 2023, and that was crazy. But now we have Victor Vedemark on the line once again for his second run in that crazy-looking S15, or should I say S14-9 potentially? I can't remember which one it is, but here we go. Let's go Sweden in the chat. Victor Vedemark going crazy into the initiation. Lots of speed. Can he get up onto the bank? Yes, he can. Maybe it's just a bit shy there as he comes around. Big angle as he comes around into 3, but unfortunately doesn't make it work. He got 4 and he spins. A very unfortunate end to Victor Vedemark's weekend. And I know he is going to be not too happy with that. But unfortunately, that is how motorsport is sometimes. It doesn't always go your way.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to have a quick look at this, because where he over-angled, I wonder, is that where Mateusz Suski dropped a bit of oil? Because that could have obviously taken away some of the grip there for Victor Vedemark in that S14.9, not really getting out to outer zone 2 there. And when he transitions here, you can see there's a little bit of dirt on the track there. But he, to be honest, no, he just gets it all wrong on just before outer zone 3. And then from here, where the track is slippy, you can see all the dust that was put down to try get rid of the oil there from Mateusz Suski's engine. Unfortunately, playing havoc with Victor Vedemark's grip and his car. So we will get a 0 for that run. I presume we'll get confirmation for that. We see Nasser Al-Halbali warming his tires, and yet there you go, 29th position for Victor Vedemark as of right now. Nasser Al-Halbali pulls the line.
I do want to shout out 59 North Wheels in the chat, cheering on Vedemark. Good to see you guys in here.
Yeah, great to see sponsors supporting their drivers in the live chat. That's great to see. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, they do pay out a lot of money, so they do want to see how it's being spent.
Well, Nasser Al-Halbali about to be the coolest guy on track right now with the sunglasses on and everything. The man from El Salvador, 86 on his first run, 1,000 horsepower, boss kit S13. He pulls to the line, and he will be leaving the line. Lights go green. He goes through the start line chicane, runs, spins the wheels off the line. There's a massive flick entry into outer zone 1. Runs the outside line there. Possibly just off half the wheel as he comes up the bank, pulls outer zone 2. Transitions back down the hill into outer zone 2. Brings that there, tries to rotate back towards outer zone 4. Holding good with the grip levels here. Absolutely perfect as he comes around outer zone 4. Tightens up now in towards the inner clip. Drives the limiter of that engine out towards outer zone 5, and across the line goes Nasser Al-Halbali. Very nice run there, Brandon. Let's break it down.
Definitely some spots where he could have been a bit better. Obviously, potential wheel drop there, but it's one of those where the judges will have to have a look at all of the angles, but does a very good job of getting the car to keep nice and wide, even in that situation. As he comes around into our clip 3, does a little bit of a handbrake dab just to settle the car and get it to wash wide. As he comes around into this section, once again, a lovely entry into our 4. As he comes around, painting that outside line with his tires. As you can see there, it's really getting worn out. Could have been a bit deeper towards the outside line there, but does a good job. And this is the main part for me, is where he comes through just a little bit too deep going through the inner clip, but obviously nothing too crazy there, and does a really good job coming through outside zone 5. So really solid run there from Nasser Al-Halbali. We'll have to see what he does in the judges' side, and I know they're going to be looking down like, I wonder. It's definitely not an easy job. I've done it. I've tried it myself in Scotland. Judging is a very intimidating job as well. You have to have a very strong character, a very strong resolve make sure you stand by your calls. But Nasser Al-Abadi getting a 91.5, putting him in 7th position. So a nice improvement there from Nasser. And I know 59 that are sat there supporting him, so they're going to be very happy seeing that. So now we move on to Mikolaj Zakowski. I hope I said that one correct. As that S15 or S14. Once again, it's just another one. S chassis. Big initiation there. Lots of speed, lots of style. Look at the speed he is carrying across outside zone 2. Plenty of speed as he comes around into out of clip 3. Has to dial in the angle to slow the car down as he comes around. Oh my word! Look at that. Pushing against the wall. That is going to be classed as a drop. But as he comes around now in towards the inner clip, does a lovely job. Perfect on the A-line there. Lots of speed, lots of commitment, limiter bashing as he comes across the line. Wow. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, very interesting here as Zarzeski initiates here. Very, very good line as he comes through outer zone 1. Carries a lot of speed through the outer line here, and you can see that really plays into getting outer zone 2 and fulfilling that whole zone as he transitions back here. A lot of angle and just a little bit of a handbrake jab just to slow the car down through outer zone 3, rotate the car around. But here, this is where we see him drop 2 wheels and do an insane wall run here.
Oh my word.
Unbelievable. But that was sick. Judges will probably mark him down for that one, but we enjoyed it, so that's okay. As he comes around outer zone 4, tightens up the car just to get into the inside zone here, as he very, very nicely runs that trailing wheel through the A line there of the inner zone and powers that car across outer zone 5 and across the line. Very, very tidy run there. Very exciting run, I will say. That's probably how I describe that, as exciting. As we go back down to the line, you can see who's on the line. It is Jakob Kroll. If we're talking about exciting drivers, Jakob Kroll's up there. Like, he's one of the best to ever do it. He's been around for years, and it's an 84.5 on run 2 for Mikołaj Jaruzelski. Leaves him in 13th position. Not a improvement on his first score, but will get him through to top 32. Anyway, Jakob Kroll, 93.5 on his first run. What can he do in a second? 918 horsepower in this S14.9 as he fires it, flicks into outer zone 1, brings it nicely, carries a lot of speed up that bank so he can fill out outer zone 2, and does, as he comes around down the hill to outer zone 3 and decels that car, rotates the car around outer zone 4. Whoa! And drops a wheel the same way as Zarkowski did. Brings it around. Let's see, can he tighten it up for the inner clip? And yes, he does. Gets it across and over outer zone 5 and across the line. Brandon, the same thing again. I wonder, is that from Suzuki? Is that the little bit of oil that might be on the track at that point?
Potentially, we'll have to see. We might be able to get a bit of a information from our track staff about that. We'll have to see. Looking very solid from outer zone 2 to outer clip 3. Looking very solid here as he comes around. I mean, you can see all the dust from the paint lines, so potentially that could be playing into the grip differences now, as it almost looks like an area of just chalk at this point. But does a really good job of recovering from washing wide there. Manages to get the car to pull in towards the inner clip. Lovely, as he comes around into our 5. Really solid performance there. I can't imagine how dirty these cars must be getting around the bottom of the kits just through that section.
Yeah, absolutely. As we wait for that score to drop in for Jakob Kroll. Oh, we have a helicopter view, I believe that is.
Oh, wow.
I don't think that is a helicopter view. That's not a drone.
I was going to say drones don't tend to go that high.
No, that's a very cool overview of the track. I really like that. But yeah, as we wait for that score to drop in. Oh, I don't think you can, Brendan. Yeah, we'll see what the score is for Jakob Kroll here now in a second. I presume it'll drop in now fairly quick. Judges might be having a little bit of deliberation there on it. Just need to see as we transition back over to our main camera. And Jakob Kroll gets an 86.5, so leaving him in 5th position with that 93.5 from his first run. As we move it back to the line, it is Valery Shevelov.
Yep,
in that
and obviously
S13
Shevlov.
making 1,000 horsepower.
Shevlov wanting to kind of redeem from his first run, doing a really solid performance in round 2. So we'll have to see what he does, as he does a big initiation there, very fast, but is a bit shy and shallow on outer zone 1. But does a good job getting towards outer zone 2. Lots of speed coming in towards outer clip 3. Lovely stuff on the decel, using the angle to his advantage. Oh, but just tagging the wall once again. There's definitely a slippy point there for all of these drivers. As he comes around, he's going that fast. I can see an orange blur as he comes around across outside zone 5.
Weight transfer entry there, as you can see, a little bit tentative as he comes through outer zone 1. Not a huge amount of angle, but then he starts to dial it on, getting that speed up towards outer zone 2 there. Just does collect that zone, and as he comes down the hill here, he transitions back to decel. Let's see how he deals with this in slow-mo quite nicely here as he transitions back around. Now this is where we saw kind of it being slippery. And yeah, the same thing. I think there might have to be there might be some oil or something down there. It's not really great at all for drivers. So we will continue watching this run as he gets nice and tight into that inside zone, around the outer zone 5, and across the line goes Valery Shevlov.
Not too shabby there, but obviously the scores are going to have to reflect. So we'll have to see what the judges thought of that, and are they going to be debating on what the condition is of that particular area going in towards the carousel. So we have Mads Andersen at the line, waiting for his second run. Obviously sitting on a 96, I do believe. As Valery Shevlov getting an 85, so he does improve by 0.5 of a point. So he's sitting in 18th place. Good, solid performance there from Valery Shevlov. Mads Andersen now with a 96 on the board. He has got nothing to lose. He just needs to put on a run. He is in the show, or does he want to try and top qualify by getting a better second score than everyone else? Let's see as he initiates into that one. Was a bit shallow as he comes around. Perfect. Out zone 2. That's into that really lovely stuff. Transitioning now into the carousel of out zone 4. Whoa, just getting a bit deep there. But manages to make it work as he comes around now towards inner clip. Definitely struggling for grip at this point in this section as he comes around and across the line. There is definitely a point of almost no grip coming into that carousel.
Yeah, definitely throwing a spanner in the works for every driver here. So Mads Andersen sitting on a 96 from his first run, joint first with 2 other drivers, may I add. There's 3 drivers on a 96-point run, which is nuts to me. But nice and clean through the first section of the tracks. He comes down here into the Z-style, deals with it very, very nicely. But this is again where we see this slippery section of track where everybody seems to be going a little bit deep there, and for Mads Andersen it's no different as he does deal with it quite nicely. He does get back onto that outer zone 4 and leaves it nice and gets around into the inner clip 1. You can see here it's just that one section of track, it's just that little bit slippery. I don't know what it's from, whether is it the shade that's there that's kind of thrown off the grip levels in that one section maybe as well. That could be another thing that we're not thinking about. So who knows? We'll wait for the score to drop in for Mads Andersen here as we have Kuba Proganski lining up on the start line here with his brand new aero discs from the Polish lottery, I believe. You can see the big inflatables around the track, and it's a 91.5 for Mads Andersen, so not an improvement, but still sits him in second position according to that. So they will obviously take those runs into consideration for the drivers in going for first. So that'll drop Mads into second position as we have Kuba Proganski initiating into the first corner here. Nice and wide, good entry, carrying a lot of speed up onto the outer zone 2 there, locking up the front wheels as he comes down into the decel here. Rotates the car back around. Will he go the same as everybody else? He will. He tags the wall. Kuba Proganski as he rotates around into the inner clip 1 now, into that beeline there. This is very uncharacteristic of
good performance there from Jakub Pszczonski, as we have Lucas Tusimski on the line. Obviously, he is a ex-commentator for this championship, DMP, and he did the Polish side, and he now wants to have a go. He's doing a bit of a Dave Egan. He wants to have a go, and he is a very talented driver at that. So Jakub Pszczonski getting a 92 for his second score, so putting him into first place. So Jakub Pszczonski currently leading the pack. But now we have Lucas Tusimski at the line in that S14, only 750 horsepower, so not as much as the previous drivers have just gone, but 92.5 so far on the score. Can he top it? We'll have to see as he comes in with that lovely S14 with the Virtual Drift Masters logo on the front. That is one thing I did notice. But look at this from Lucas Tusimski. Perfect for the outside zone 2 as he comes around now into outer cut 3. Will his spotter have told him it gets slippy here? Oh, and he does perfect it. He is the only one in the past few runs who has not hit that wall as he comes around now. Oh, but maybe just a little bit shallow into the inner cut, but does an amazing job through outside zone 5. Look at that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Incredible
it killed
job.
Me. It killed me, Kian.
He seems to have figured it out, that little slippy section off track there that everybody has been hitting the wall with. He's seemed to just say, oh, okay, that's where everyone's going wrong. Let me just fix that really quick. So he comes into the decel here, outer zone 3, very nicely. And look at how he deals with this here. Little bit of dab on the foot brake there just to settle the car. And it'll just lets the car float around, and on the foot brake again, just to let that car rotate around on the outer zone 4. Very, very nice driving from Lucas Tusimski, and this should be a very high scoring run for him. We will see what happens here for Lucas Tusimski as he comes across the line, outer zone 5 there, comes across the line of the finish line, and finishes out his run for the last run of qualifying today. That was incredible. Very good run and an incredible qualifying session, Brandon. This has been unbelievable today. The standard of driving is huge at the moment.
Oh yeah, DMP obviously setting the standard for the European side of Polish drifting. And obviously we have a lot of drivers coming from outside. 97.5! Lucas Tusimski is your top qualifier here at round 3. What a way to finish qualifying. He was like, right, hold my beer. Or my water, whatever he's drinking, hold my Red Bull. What a crazy way to finish qualifying. Absolutely insane. Amazing work there from all of our drivers. Look at that. Lucas Tusimski in first with that 97.5. Jakub Pszczonski and Victor Anderson with a 96, as well as Mads Andersen. Kian, what an insane qualifying session this has been. This has been look how many 90s there are.
This is
you have to go to the second page.
Such a tight qualifying session here at round 3 of DMP at Tor Kielce. Unbelievable qualifying session today for both semi-pro and pro. And you can just, it reflects in the scores. Look at how high our scores are. 20th position still on an 85. Our drop zone was 77.5 today. We had 2 drivers on that. So dropping out, Peter Yutasi, Alexander Fiał, Krzysztof Jozwiak, Zadnik Kabarczak, Peter Kowalski, Michael Hambui, Jan Kosny, Michael Reichardt, Dominic Kerr just getting in there, as well as Krzysztof Kozstrikers. And then the second page there, Matthias Fiał, both Fiał's out, Peter Stansek, Maciej Jarkovic, Jacek Oldenik, Krzysztof Polonka, Dariusz Fabishek, Mateusz Druzkin, Bartosz Palika, and I've missed those last 2 names. But a lot of big heavy hitters out there, Brandon. 4 top 32 tomorrow. This is going to be such an unbelievable bracket tomorrow. I cannot wait to see what happens in this pro session tomorrow, and even the semi-pro session. We have some incredible drivers in this competition right now, and this track is very technical. It's very dangerous. You can see there with that slippy section of track what happened. We can have any kind of mess up in the championship today. So, Brandon, your final thoughts?
Definitely. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the top 16 of semi-pro class, and then we will be moving on
jest to bardzo widowiskowy sport, ale żeby był widowiskowy, musi być bardzo blisko kibiców, żeby te samochody przejeżdżały jak najbliżej, a żeby dało się to zrobić, to trzeba zabezpieczyć zawsze trasę i Hoch Trans pomaga nam z tymi klockami Lego, tak żeby zawodnicy mieli fajną trasę, a też żeby wszyscy byli bezpieczni.